So, hi Daniela, it's great to have you on the call today. We're excited to dive into your wealth of experience in the digital banking space, especially with your 23 years of experience in the industry. So, what initially attracted you to digital banking, and how has your perspective on the industry evolved over the years?
Thank you, Deepa, and thank you for this call, and thank you for disclosing this number of years of my career in the banking. Um, Generally, I can say that digital in banking universe is not innovation anymore. It is a standard and commonplace. And after all these years in the banking, I can say that it's kind of story or possibilities or prospects, which is like a never-ending story where you can always see that after completion of one change or one big project or one big transformation, there is always some additional space and some additional opportunities which are actually coming in front of you. If I would recall, I mean, historically, I can say that there were lots of different projects that I was participating, which were actually triggered to change some parts of the banking universe here. But maybe one which I would actually mention now is a big project that we completed more than 10 years ago in the previous bank, and which was concerned with the changing of core banking system in the bank. And maybe for our audience, it would be interesting to hear that one of the conclusions that we made soon after we were under production is that actually our organization became a new one. So implementation of digital tools and processes and different technologies, it's not just something which would change your processes and products and channels. It changes as well people in your organization. It changes overall the whole concept. And what actually emotionally always attaches me to these kind of initiatives is that with each new project in the sphere of digitization and implementation of new tools, you are always bringing something new to the organization, and the organization becomes always somehow reshaped and redesigned. And it always brings, if it's managed properly and prudently, it always brings a lots of new opportunities in front of you.
If you had to give one piece of advice to banks struggling with digital transformation, what would it be?
Well, there are different things and different messages and different angles of this story. It's a very complex story. What is quite sure is that banks are operating within one new arena, which is characterized by lower interest rates, trend of the costs which increase higher than the revenue side. Capital resources become expensive, and in the middle of that, we are actually leading this very intensive digital tournament. And a transformation or digital transformation that we're talking about is not anymore a matter of competition. It's a matter of survival, actually. Traditional concept of how it's called brick and mortar banking today is just one of the competencies which you need. And owning of products and channels and traditional customer delivery, they're still present, but they're just pieces of the new puzzle. So I would say that hyper-personalization, trends which brings to us AI and machine learning and cloud computing and RPA, they bring eventually to the banking something which is contextual banking and importance of outcome. and not something which is not just something which is like a new solution or new channel or new product. I mean, you can invent whatever you want today and you can implement that, but what you should care about is actually what kind of outcome you bring to the clients and in which context that transformation that you are implementing is actually bringing a value to the customers. So this concept of outcome, when we are all thinking about implementing of new solutions, is something which should help us to actually be to choose the priorities more properly, and as well to mitigate risks more properly.
From your experience, what are the biggest cultural or organizational barriers preventing banks from fully embracing digital transformation?
I would say that there are different, of course, as I said, challenges and risks, and the whole story is very complex. But maybe the question which should be clearly and loudly said is, are banks capable to innovate and to disrupt the financial products ecosystem and still to stay sustainable, transparent, and resilient? Because transparency and stability and transparency and sustainability is something which actually are like a Bible of our presence and our business model. I would say that in this race against time, I would say, and technological curve, we should somehow accept the concept of partnership strongly. And that's something which is connected with this question that you raised about the cultural challenges which are in front of us within the organization or outside the organization. When I say partnership, I refer to something that I already mentioned, and that's the contextuality banking. So the banks are not anymore present just on their channels, on their products. They should be present whenever actually our clients are. They should be embedded. So that's why the context of or concept of embedded banking, embedded finance, embedded payments, open banking, that's something where I strongly believe is the future of banking business. And making of these partnerships which are meaningful in terms that we do not look at our vendors and fintech companies just as vendors, as someone to whom we actually pay something to use their SDKs. In order for this whole ecosystem to be successful, those partnerships should be meaningful in terms that we really share a similar vision how our mutual business models should look like. And what from my experience has definitely been proved is that technology investments must be aligned with business goals through the loop of strategy in order to enable a phased approach to scalability and agility. It means that we need step by step to build these external partnerships, and that's one part of the cultural challenge. And the other is, of course, concerned with our internal capabilities to really make our employees and our internal stakeholders to understand and to properly participate in all digital transformation initiatives.
So what's one major shift you foresee in digital banking over the next, let's say, 3 to 4, 5 years?
Usually when I participate in different conferences and where I'm in the communities which are strongly involved in digital transformation, there is always lots of talkings about technology actually behind, about AI, about cloud computing, about machine learning, about different things which actually change our business model today. But again, I would not start answering to this question with technological advancement. In the previous question, I mentioned what are the cultural issues in terms of making a strong organizational culture and strategy vision, which is shared internally, but as well externally. And I think that banks within this digital transformation must first change something which is called traditional value chain of banking. So that traditional value chain was that we actually had full ownership of products, of all services, of all channels. And from that part, we are actually now in a position that we should have banking as a service value chain, which means that we must have, of course, strong capital providers, regulations, full compliance. We should have, of course, very strong core banking system, but we must, through this value chain, offer different potentials and different possibilities for integration with outside external partners. So different integration layers, different API layers, different embedded financial products, and something which at the end is called platformization of bank and platformization of banking generally. Without that, on the long way, we cannot bring additional USP to our clients, and we cannot be competitive enough. Banking must go to meet the customers where they expect to be financed. All channels, all products, all mid-office and back-office processes need to be actually reshaped. And we can then talk, of course, about different technologies behind that, and actually apply different fintech solutions in terms of loan origination, payments, CRMs, cars business, usage of AI, which is really gives a huge scope of use cases, machine learning, as I said, large language models behind that. So everything is possible when you set up this first layer of understanding a new banking value chain as it should be.
Are there any aspects of digital banking that you personally find underrated and believe need more attention?
Addiko Group is a group which is really strongly devoted to making financial products optimized and digitized to very huge extent. And we are actually experiencing and seeing that our clients recognize that. What I see as a kind of possible potential improvements generally, but particularly maybe for the region of Balkan and Southeast Europe, is that these innovative approaches in terms of different tools and technologies should be applied equally to regulatory requirements. Especially in field of payments, then fraud prevention, in AML compliances. So banks are really becoming over-regulated, and those processes which we need actually to implement in order to have a full compliance, stability, resilience, especially in the ICT risks, are becoming more and more expensive and are actually overburdening us. So that sphere should be, of course, properly covered by new solutions, and the banks should somehow focus to find best partnerships in that area as well, not just in those which are, of course, needed and which are like direct channels or direct products which our clients are using. So generally speaking, banks should transform their legacy systems, solve vendor locking scenarios, prepare these middle and integration layers for all these things that we can use. I must mention something which is like a data governance, which becomes more and more important. I mean, any kind of technology that you would like to implement, if you don't have a proper data behind, that technology cannot give you a full scope of or full potential of implementation. So lots of things in front of us and lots of possibilities, but I said we should first think about and set up properly the priorities and these basic layers in terms of technology and infrastructure, but of course in the terms of knowledge and overall strategy.
So what would you recommend digital banking attendees focus on to stay ahead in this rapidly evolving space?
I know that these events which are organized by Connectiva are always a good opportunity actually to make a good networking and to somehow from the side of the banking industry where I come from to make like these good connections with vendors to hear some new use cases, which is very useful. So this collaboration with fintechs, making a synergy and the system of shared values, that's something which is usually strengthened on these conferences. And in terms of topics, data-driven banking, analytics, platform banking, AI, loan origination and CRM topics, payments from different angles, mobile payments and development of mobile solutions for current bank customers, but as well new to bank customers. And the whole concept of open banking and open finance is something which I'm quite sure would be covered on your new and planned conference in Bucharest. And I'm quite sure that participants will have from every, let's say, segment group, from banks, from fintechs, they will have lots of reasons to be there.